Made possible through support from CCDC, Colorado Cross Disability Coalition, Developmental Pathways, and the Arc of Aurora. A THINK+change training.
Hey there, it's Jeff.
And I'm Petrie.
And we are advocates with the Arc of Aurora. And today we're going to present you with a THINK+change training. The topic for today is medical cannabis in services. Before we get into this, I must say this. This material has been prepared for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide, promote, or prescribe medical or legal advice. You should consult your own medical or legal advisors for specific and personalized advice.
Well done, Jeff.
Cool. So let's hit this running.
Okay. So one of the first things we kind of want to hit is the use of medical cannabis in Medicaid-supported environments and kind of current restrictions or parameters around that. So as we know, Medicaid is typically managed and funded on a state level, but there are some federal funding components to Medicaid. So what's really important to know is that if you are in any kind of a Medicaid funded setting or receive services
like a day program,
okay, or receive services through perhaps your local CCB, your community-centered board, perhaps Developmental Pathways or Rocky Mountain Human Services, and you have case managers through there, because those are all federally funded partially, and because medical marijuana is still not legal on a federal level, there are parameters around the use of that, which is the viewpoint being medical marijuana is still illegal, even though it is legal here in the state of Colorado. So you need to be really clear on your environment and your setting when using medical cannabis. So for example, if you find it beneficial for you and you're at your day program, which is a Medicaid-funded service, they have every right to tell you, even if you can use this legitimately and medically, they have every right to tell you that you can't use it on their premises. Just like if you are in an IDT meeting and you're discussing your use of medical cannabis, or even you want to just start to explore it, pretty often you'll find that your CCB case manager can't be a part of that conversation and can't encourage you one way or another that is an option for you. Now, this isn't to say that other providers, maybe your host home providers, your guardians, other supports in your life won't necessarily support that. If you find that this is beneficial for you and it's important to your health and your well-being,
talk to your team.
Talk to your team, absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily mean just because your CCB or your day program can't support that, it doesn't mean that other members of your team won't support it. So you still have options. We just want you to be really clear on kind of that delineation.
Okay. Well, I was going to talk about CBD a little bit. I'm sure you guys are fairly aware of it now.
Yeah.
So it's been recognized by the federal legislation, which makes CBD legal. You are allowed to consume or utilize CBD, but be careful because some states don't recognize this federal legislation. And I know a couple of the states are not too far from Colorado, so if you are going out of state, just look into the rules around CBD in the particular state you're going. But CBD, it's non-intoxicating compound found in cannabis plants. And for it to be legally used, it needs to be less than 0.3% THC.
And the THC piece is what people normally think is the piece that kind of gives you the high. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So CBD does not have any of those kind of effects, but it can be used to treat anxiety, epilepsy, inflammation, etc. And there's a lot of ways to take it. It can be food, drink, lotion, oil, I believe some inhalants as well.
Yeah.
So, but one piece of advice I would have, I know it's legal, we've discussed that, but you still want to use quality CBD products. There's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there. So I would encourage you to find a legitimate CBD product and do some research. And if you're not sure, reach out to, if you have a provider or if you're a parent, do some of your own research, talk to people.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there is a big difference between a CBD product and cannabis. And so we encourage you to really kind of learn the difference between the two. There are benefits to both. Sometimes they can be combined together. So you want to really kind of be clear on what you're getting.
Okay, and along with CBD, I wanted to talk a little bit briefly about Epidiolex.
Great.
Have you heard of that?
I have, yeah.
So it's an actual prescription medication that treats seizures. And the really neat thing about this is it's the first FDA-approved cannabis medical product.
It's pharmaceutical grade.
Yeah, and it's highly purified CBD is really what it is. And, it's out there to treat seizures, and the only restriction right now is you have to be at least 2 years old to use Epidiolex.
Right.
So that's another thing I encourage you to look into. There's definitely been some benefits to using Epidiolex.
Yeah, we are definitely seeing this, kind of more and more on the forefront. So again, as we said, do your research, find out what may benefit you. Always keep in mind the setting that you're in, especially if you are partaking in any of these potential interventions. And if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to a local ARC chapter or anyone else who might have information on this subject.
Yeah, and a good resource also, Realm of Caring. They're based out of Colorado Springs, and you can easily look up their information, and they definitely consult with people that are looking to dabble with medical cannabis, CBD, etc.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this subject today. We hope to see you again soon.
THINK+change. Talks, trainings, and tools to help in your work for or with people with intellectual and other developmental disabilities. Learn more at www.thinkchange.training.